So, ladies and gentlemen, these are going to be the examples that we'll do in class. If you were here in class, then you will have already seen or walked this yourself to see how it looks. And then you will have done a graph of distance and time, and it will look like however it looks depending on your scale. All right. Now, my graph that I did on the computer looks like this. So you started at 0 seconds and 0 meters, and then you took 6 seconds to walk to 8 meters. And that will be this point right here. Then you stood still for 2 seconds from 6 to 8, didn't move forward at all. So that is this point right here. Then you turn around and you walk back towards where you started. So you have a negative slope. It will take you 4 more seconds, 12 seconds, to get back to 4 meters. That's that point right there. Then for the next 2 seconds, you're going to stay at 4 meters. So that's that point right there. And then another 2 seconds, you'll walk from 4 meters back to 0. That's that point right there. Okay, so the 3 questions that we're going to do as examples are those that are circled in purple. The first one is, what is the total distance traveled by the person in the graph? All right, the total distance. The total distance is the total distance that you travel. It has nothing to do with where you start, where you stop, right? So as far as we are concerned, distance is just the total distance that you walked. And that's really pretty simple. You start here at 0, and then you walk to here, and that is a total distance of 8 meters. So this particular one right here is going to be 8 meters. That's how far you walked. Now, the next one, you stayed at 8 meters, so you didn't walk at all, right? So that right there is going to be 0 meters. Then the next one, you're going to go from 8 back to 4, right? So you start at 8, you subtract 4, right there. That means that you will have walked 4 meters in that time right there. Then in the next part, it's flat. You stayed at 4, you don't walk at all. It's 0 meters. And then in the final bit, you're going to go from 4 back to 0, 4 meters. So if we add it all together, you're going to add 8 meters plus 0 meters plus 4 meters plus 0 meters plus 4 meters. And that is going to add up to 16 meters total. And that is how far you've walked, the distance that was traveled. So, 8 meters plus 0 meters plus 4 meters plus 0 meters plus 4 meters is equal to 16 meters. Now, displacement is different. Okay, I'm going to make a copy of this so that I can do it on a clean sheet. And then I'm going to get rid of, no, I'm not going to do that. I will simply erase. All right. So, displacement is different. Displacement is how far you travel from where you started. Okay? Is how far from where you started. And if you're looking at displacement, the only thing you ever have to look at is where did you start? So that's your start. That is at 0 meters. Where did you end? Zero meters. So you started at 0 meters, you ended at 0 meters. 0 meters minus 0 meters is, of course, equal to 0 meters. All right, so there was no displacement at all. You're right back where you started. All right, so displacement, simple. 0 meters minus 0 meters is equal to 0 meters. You are right back where you started. So, zero displacement. Now, the speed when you're dealing with graphs is basically just a slope, okay? And so we're looking for the speed from 0 to 6 seconds, all right? So I'm going to make myself another, excuse me, another copy. I'm going to erase this, okay? And then I'm going to go back and copy that question into here. What is the speed, the slope of the line of the person from 0 to 6 seconds? All right, let's make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. There we go. All right, what is the speed, the slope of the line of the person from 0 to 6 seconds? Okay, now you're going to be using a ruler to do this, all right? I am going to be using the tools from my iPad. So where you would be using a ruler, I'm going to be using a red line, all right? So what you're going to do is you're first going to figure out what is the part from 0 to 6 seconds, right? So this is 0 seconds right here. Let me actually make that up. An arrow. This is 0 seconds right here because this is time, right? And then this is 6 seconds right here, okay? So 0 seconds and 6 seconds. So that means that it is this part right here. This is the part that we're going to be doing the slope for, all right? Now, slope is always the same, okay? Now, we're going to do it much like we were doing it before, but we're not going to take an entire piece of paper to do it. okay, we're going to get the change in the y values. Remember, this is the y-axis right here. And that is going to be y right minus y left, just like it was before. And then we're going to divide that by the change in the x values, because this is the x-axis. And that's going to be x right minus x left, just like we did before. So that is going to be our calculation. All right? So the first thing that we're going to need to figure out what is the x left and the y left. All right? So that is that point right there that I just circled in purple. Okay? So the x left is going to be 0. Right? So that is going to be 0. But this time it's important that we take the units. What is it? 0 what? 0 seconds. All right, so that's critical. All right. What is the y left? Well, that too is 0. And again, we're going to need the units, meters. So 0 meters. Then I'm going to go up here to this point at 6 seconds, and I'm going to figure out the x right and the y right. Okay, and I'm going to use green for that. X right and y right. Now this is where you're going to probably need to break out your rulers, okay? And actually I have a ruler here I think I can use. Will it allow me to move it? It will allow me to move it, but it won't allow me to shift it. All right, so I'm not going to be using my ruler. All right, so this is where you would use your ruler. I'm going to use a red line for that, okay? So what is my x right? Well, my x right, man, this thing is bothering me. Okay, my x right is 6 seconds. And my y right is 8 seconds. Or excuse me, apologies. 8 meters, right? 8 meters, because that's the y. So now I'm going to take my y right and my y left, and I'm going to put them into my calculation. All right? So my calculation is going to be y right minus y left. Now I'm going to take all these things and I'm going to go put them back in the problem solving paper right here. So there's x right and y right, which I got from my graph. Oopsie. I think I might just shrink that a little bit, just to make it a bit smaller. There we go. And there's my x left and my y left, which I got from my graph. Then here's my equation, which I also got from my graph. There we go. That'll give me some space. And so I'm simply going to do the calculation now, and I'm going to have the units, okay? So here we go. Y right, which I'm going to do in green because it was green, is 8 meters. Minus Y left, which I'm going to do in purple because it was in purple, 0 meters. Divided by X right, which I'm going to do in green because it was in green, 6 seconds. Minus X left, which I'm going to do in purple because it was in purple, 0 meters. Now when I do that calculation, I get 8 minus 0 is equal to 8 meters. Then I get 6 minus 0 is equal to 6 seconds. If I take 8 on my calculator and I divide it by 6, I get 1.3333, just continues on. And then I get meters over seconds, meters per second. All right, now I'm almost there. I want to report this to 2 decimals. All right, so that's going to be my reporting, is 2 decimals. So, decimal places. Final thing. There is my decimal, right? So this is my first decimal place. This is my second decimal place. And then this is the one that I use to decide if I want to round my second decimal place. So the rules are, if this one right here, if the third decimal place, if this is greater than or equal to 5, then I round the second up. So, is that one right there greater than or equal to 5? And of course, no, it is not greater than or equal to 5. So I take 1 point, there's my decimal place, 3, first decimal place, 3, because I haven't rounded up, second decimal place, meters per second. And that is my final answer. Okay? Now, you'll be doing exactly the same thing. Okay? On all of those, you'll be doing exactly the same thing as I just laid out for you right there. And I think that's it.